Tuesday. Glad to have you along. We talked Titans yet again. Zach is in Dallas, had a late night last night with the Cowboys getting their first win at home on Monday Night Football. So Zach out until Friday. So I'll have Luke with me today and Thursday. Jack will return on Wednesday. We're going to have a great show today talking Titans, updating A.J. Brown's injury. He left early in that game against the Colts on Sunday with a hamstring injury. We got an update on that from Adam Schefter. We'll talk through it and how the Titans should handle him the next 3 weeks. We'll also revisit Mike Vrabel's handling of Julio Jones with his potential load management live during a game, live decision. So Luke was at Mike Vrabel's press conference yesterday, so we'll get Luke's opinion on how all that went down. And there's more injuries, right? It's just injuries all over the place for the Titans, even though they're 2-1 with 2 back-to-back wins. Which of these Titans injuries are you most concerned in? We'll talk about Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, Anthony Ferguson, or Caleb Farley. And then it's Trivia Tuesday, but I've got something special. It's not just Sports Trivia Tuesday. It is Trivia Titans Tuesday. Titans Trivia Tuesday here on the show. So very excited. I've got Titans-only questions today for our trivia to end the show. So we should have really good success with our trivia at the end. It does not affect the record that Zach and I have, but a special Titans Trivia Tuesday. So really looking forward to this. Luke, glad to have you along. What's going on?
Glad to be back, Austin. And if there's anything that I am good at, anything that I can serve this show with, it is obscure Titans knowledge and factoids. So I am absolutely fired up for that at the end of the show. Everyone will definitely want to stick around for that. But it's good to be back. I was telling you, it's my first time back with the new graphics. It's been a little while. It's been about a month, but it's good to see you all here today. I see that our friend Zach here is definitely a Tupper, it looks like. So it's good to see all of you here this morning. And since Zach is not here and I'm going to remind you all that you need to share the show this morning on whatever platform you are using to listen or watch, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter/Periscope. We need to appear in the news feeds or timelines of your friends, family members, and here it is, other associates.
Hey, there it is.
It's back.
Yep.
Because the unique thing about A to Z Sports is it's not just a conversation between me and Austin. It is a conversation between all of us. We've got several questions that we will be asking you today, and we'll pop your comments up on the screen. We look forward to seeing what everyone has to add to the conversation. And the more voices we can have, the more friends we can get in here, the more fun it is for everyone.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by BetMGM. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Luke Worsham, in for Zach Bingham on this Tuesday. Make sure you follow us all over social media. We go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Also hit us up on Instagram and TikTok. We're Nashville's on-demand sports talk network. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for our show, and they help out you guys. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the area at renterswarehouse.com. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, 1 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room with full body electronic muscle stimulation. Your first workout is free at mandu.com. Wilson County Hyundai, find your next ride. Head out to Lebanon, wilsoncountyhyundai.com to get everything they have. And the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destinations for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org. So there's a lot of injuries today. So Bone and Joint probably will get some extra mentions about how the Titans are banged up. They have won 2 straight in a row, Luke. So it has been a while since you've been on the morning show filling in for Zach. So how do you feel about the Titans 3 games in, sitting at 2-1 after an ugly week 1 performance against the Cardinals? How are you feeling as you sit right now on September 28th?
I feel pretty good. I think that in all likelihood, this team is going to be 4-1 entering week 6. I don't think that's thinking too far ahead. They're going to kill the Jets. The Jets have scored 20 points in 3 games. That Derrick Henry manhandles the Jaguars constantly. I can't remember the last time Jacksonville beat the Titans. So that game is going to be fairly one-sided. I mean, I think they're in a good position. I don't take a whole lot of stock into the messiness of the win on Sunday, partially because it's a division game. And as you know, you kind of throw out the record book in those games. But also, if not for a couple of fluky turnovers, that Nick Westbrook-Akina fumble, the Chester Rogers drop that led to the big interception. And I didn't think Ryan Tannehill made a horrible decision on that other pick. I think Tommy Hudson probably could have bailed him out a little bit better. And I know this is revisionist history, but those are fluky plays. And if those fluky plays don't happen, Titans beat the Colts by 3 scores. So I think that the Titans are in a good position, and I'm already looking ahead and looking forward to that Monday night game here against Buffalo.
It's dangerous, though. It's very dangerous to do that, is to look ahead because, look, the Jets are bad. The Jags had, an 109-yard kick 6 return against the Cardinals to really flip that game on Sunday. Then the Cardinals, took control and beat the Jags. But yeah, yes, you're right. The Titans should be 4-1 when it comes for that home Monday night game against the Buffalo Bills, who look pretty good too, as they hang up over 40 on Washington on Sunday. So let's go ahead and get into these injuries, because it is concerning that A.J. Brown really has not done all that much so far this season. Everybody was expecting A.J. to have an explosive third year in the NFL, where really he earns his second contract this year, right, Luke? Like, you're going to go into this offseason expecting to pay A.J. Brown a ton of money. The first game, he got a touchdown pass, but the Titans were blown out overall. In the second game, he had 4 drops by my account.
9 targets, 3 catches. Really bad.
Not good. Not good. And then so in game 3, you're expecting against the Colts for him to just explode and rebound. And then he pulls his hamstring, or strains his hamstring on a go route early in that game. And so Adam Schefter had the injury update yesterday for A.J. Brown. Here it is. I'll throw it up on the screen. Titans wide receiver A.J. Brown has a strained hamstring and expected to be considered week to week per source. So here we are again in a year after A.J. battled through knee injuries, plural, all last season. It's week 3 when another injury pops up, as he's been managing his knee throughout August and September already. And remember, like last year, some point, AJ, it seemed like every time he got tackled in a game, that first tackle he took in a game, it would be a slow get up off the turf with maybe like an ankle or something. AJ is starting to stack up a bunch of injuries already. How concerned are you about this one?
I'm concerned. I really am, because look, I love A.J. Brown as much as the next guy, but he's been injury prone so far in his career. He just has. And it's lots of nagging stuff. Now, I know last year he deserves a lot of credit for the toughness he showed in playing through injuries that resulted in a double surgery once the season ended. But this is kind of who A.J. Brown has become, no? I mean, his rookie season, he missed most of training camp with, I believe, a hamstring problem. You mentioned the problems from the 2020 season. And now already missed most of training camp with something, a knee injury. And now he can't even run a go route without hurting his hamstring. This is like Marcus Mariota type stuff.
Yeah, now AJ has been able to play through a lot of it. Easy E on YouTube says AJ already earned his contract playing on 2 bum knees. AJ Brown has earned his second contract. This season, absolutely. What? You don't think AJ Brown has earned his second contract? Now, what this year is just about how much it'll cost. Look,
if he plays 5 games this year, I'm not paying him $15 million.
Right, but you're still going to pay him. Like AJ Brown,
but he's probably not going to take less than that.
Well, again, AJ Brown has the point is AJ Brown has earned his second contract from the Titans. It's all about how much is it gonna be, and you can get into will AJ accept it? Sure, but he has earned. The Titans will offer him a contract. Sure,
yeah,
that's the point.
This isn't going to be a who was it that they just kind of let go out the door?
Corey Davis.
Yeah, this isn't going to be.
They're not letting AJ. They're not treating AJ Brown like Corey Davis. They are They will offer A.J. Brown a contract extension this upcoming offseason. The next 15 games plus the playoffs will determine how much that contract will be worth.
Yeah, I guess. It's
You
just
guess? What is incorrect about what I just said?
I want him to take another step.
Sure, we all do. But like he is like a guy has gone back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in a run-first offense and has made the Pro Bowl in his second year. He's earned the offer. It's just about how much money is on that check. You're smiling because you know I'm right, and you're just trying not to agree with me.
I'm smiling because I don't want to get like cold take.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like if you say it how I said it, you're not going to get cold taked.
Okay.
It's just that they will offer him a contract extension this offseason.
It's just you would, if he plays 5 games this year, you would offer him. You think his talent is enough to where you're not concerned about the constant unavailability.
I mean, I would structure the contract differently, but I would still offer him an extension. Like A.J. Brown's going to get an extension offered to him in the month of like February or March at some point.
It just might be $9 million, as our friend
Kendrick. Or there
said.
might be less guaranteed money. I don't, there might be some different situations with how you structure it, but he has definitely earned the offer from the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, he's a player you want to keep around.
Absolutely. He is absolutely a guy you want to keep here, especially because of his superstardom. He gets it on and off the field and knows how to be a superstar. But yeah, the injuries are concerning. Like if he plays, like you're saying, 5 games this year, then you drastically change that offer, but you're still giving him an offer out there regardless. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to our question about this A.J. Brown injury, because I'll throw up the Adam Schefter report here in a second again. But when should A.J. Brown play next? At the Jets, at the Jags, or versus the Bills? When should A.J. Brown play next? At the Jags, at the Jets, at the Jags, or versus the Bills? Those are the next 3 games for the Titans as he's considered week to week. So let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute. Then we'll talk about A.J. Brown's hamstring. Whenever you get hurt in life, you need to know who to go to and who to trust. And that's the folks at the Bone and Joint Institute right there in Franklin. They make it easy on you. A lot of times, whenever you get hurt, you got to go to one place for the diagnosis. Then you got to go to an imaging center. Then you got to go have the surgery at a surgery center and then a rehab facility. That's like 4 or 5 different places around town. With Bone and Joint, streamlined, one place, one building. Everybody's there. All the experts under one roof. boneandjointtn.org. They've got specialists there that can specialize in literally any injury that can occur with you and your body. Make sure you trust them to get back to health. boneandjointtn.org.
And our friends at BetMGM have a great deal going on for you today. If you sign up for their app and you use that promo code you see there, A to Z Sports, they will give you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. It's a great deal to take advantage of. Maybe you're always on Twitter. Maybe you've seen our pick show before, or you see people talking about sports betting all the time, and you've always just wanted to hop in and get your feet wet. This is a great deal to do that with. Or maybe you're a vet and you're just looking for a great deal to take advantage of, or another book to try out. This is also a great deal for you. So whatever stage you are in your sports betting life, you need to go to BetMGM and give them that promo code, because they will give you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000.
Definitely check that out there. The A to Z Sports Pick shows today at 2:00, by the way. So catch that. I've already seen Alan's email of what it's going to have with Alan and Brian Edwards. Okay, so the question is, and I'll throw it up there again, the report from Adam Schefter yesterday. Titans wide receiver A.J. Brown had a strained hamstring and is expected to be considered week to week per source. That is the report from Adam Schefter yesterday. So our question is, when should he play next? Overwhelmingly, Luke, the answer is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Overwhelming.
Because that's the right answer.
You think it's the right answer?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I will let you go ahead and explain.
Well, I see zero chance of the New York Jets beating the Titans. Like, I saw people in the comments like, you never know this. Like, the Jets suck, guys. This is not even the Bengals from last year, because remember, that was a game that we're all like, well, the Titans got this one in the bag, and then Joey Burrow came out and beat them. Like, that, they're not even like that. The Jets are horrific. Again, 20 points in 3 games, guys, going against I can't believe I'm going to say this, a good Titans third down defense.
All right.
So I see zero chance that the Jets beat the Titans. It's going to be a disaster for them. And the Titans win games for the most part that they should win. Jacksonville may be more of a chance just because, I don't know, maybe Trevor Lawrence is a little better than Zach Wilson, who's been sort of erratic and all over the place. And it is a division game. But even then, like, the Jags are 0-3, right? Because they lost to Houston. These are just two of the worst teams in the league. Like
they literally are two of the worst teams.
It could be pick 1 and pick 2. Like that's what we're talking about here. Again, like they were pick 1 and pick 2 last year, and again in 2021 and 2022, they could be the top 2 picks in the draft. Like these are teams that the Titans are going to beat. If you're sitting there thinking, I don't know, like you just don't have a whole lot of trust in Mike Vrabel, which I think you should because he's a proven winner as a head coach.
All right, and Dom says they're an NFL team though. I don't think he should play against them, but you can't take them lightly. And look, the Titans showed that they could beat the Colts and finish and close out that game without AJ basically the entire time. I mean, AJ was out on the Titans' second drive of the game, and then Julio did not play in the fourth quarter when the Titans last 2 drives where they scored the 11 points that basically won them the game. So, and Ryan brings up the Bengals last year when Luke said that the Titans typically win games they're supposed to, unless it's the Bengals, right? Or there's been games.
Last year's Bengals with Joe Burrow are like light years ahead of this year's Jets team. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah, but there's a lot of there are so many examples of the Titans playing down to their opponent and making games like that a lot closer than they should be.
Yeah, but for every one of those you can give me, I can give you Detroit in week 14 or 15, who they kicked the fill in the blank out of at Nissan Stadium.
Yeah, and I can barely even remember that game.
Bears, they killed the Bears.
Well, they killed the Bears by 7 points, like, or like it was a closer game.
Yeah, because they let off the gas in the second half after it was a blowout.
Yeah, but there's Chris brings up the Bills in 2018.
A lot of stat padding in that game.
Yeah, again, regardless, there's a lot of examples of the Titans laying eggs.
They beat the Bills if Nick Williams catches that touchdown.
Well, but he did, and they lost.
And they also had Marcus Mariota at quarterback.
But that's the point, though. That is the point, is that weird things happen in the NFL and drastically change the game. And the Titans have typically had the Nick Williams drops in the end zone that cause them to get to lose to a game the team they shouldn't.
I'm not looking to 2018 as a predictor of what's going to happen to the Titans in 2021.
Sure, different, absolutely different.
Last
teams.
year, sure. 2019, sure, with Tannehill.
And I said this yesterday, Luke. You would hope that last year's Bengals game would prevent that from happening against the Jets and the Jags in the next 2 weeks, right? Like you would hope so.
Yeah.
But so here's ideally, there is zero purpose for AJ Brown to play against the Jets, right? It's a trip. Like, don't even send him to New York. Just don't even put him on the plane because, I know where a hamstring can get real tight sitting on an airplane. That sounds miserable to me. If you have a strained hamstring and you're sitting, you can't even stretch your legs out, and that sounds awful. Don't even put AJ Brown on the plane to go to play the New York Jets. Just leave him at home, let him rehab, and then see what next week looks like. Ideally, you would like him to play against the Jags. It's a divisional game that you have to win. I would like him to be ready to go against the Bills. That's the ultimate goal. And I would love to see a splash of AJ in Jacksonville against the Jags to knock the rust off. Because again, he's coming off 2 games where he's got 4 drops and he strained a hamstring. I want to see AJ catch the football and have him regain that confidence to go into that Monday night game against the Bills. So ideally, don't take him to New York. Have him play a little bit in Jacksonville in 2 weeks to let him be ready to go for that Monday night game against the Bills. Because that is people that answer the Bills are right. That's what they need him for.
Yeah.
But I would like to see him against the Jags just a little.
And, maybe they do like an emergency situation with them against the Jags, like the Bud Dupree thing, which we'll get into, I'm sure. But also, I will
at
say
least
that.
at least let him go through warm-ups, right? Like Bud Dupree went through warm-ups.
Yeah. The one thing that could win this game for the Jets was Zach was here. So Corey Davis revenge game. I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah.
I'm joking mostly, but I seriously forgot that Corey Davis was playing.
He's having a good year, but the Jets are just getting their asses kicked every week.
Lots of stat padding.
But then again, that's what Corey Davis signed up for. He got $12.5 million a year to go have good stats on a bad team,
and blow out losses.
Yes, why not? I mean, go get paid, Corey. Go for it, man. That's what you're doing, and I don't blame him whatsoever. I think it was the right move for him. DJ says that Corey will just run out of bounds. So no, again, I think playing AJ, because you want to be able to have AJ ready to go for Bills Chiefs, and that's two big games.
Murderer's row right there
in 6 days, right? Because it's you have the Bills game, which buys you that extra day for AJ and whoever else to get healthy because it's Monday night, but a quick turnaround. Luckily, they're both at home, so there's no travel in those 6 days. But I think you got to get this team ready to go when it comes to Bills and Chiefs later in October.
Yeah, because those games are against the two best teams in the AFC, arguably. And I think we'll figure out sort of where the Titans are in those two games.
Yeah, Scott says, is Ferkser going to be back this week? We have no idea yet. It's just Tuesday, but we're going to talk about Anthony Ferkser here in our next segment.
That's a great segue.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing it for there, Scott. Appreciate the assist from Scott Weaver on the transition here. So there are 4 Titans, 4 key injuries that we're going to talk about today, and we want to know which of these 4 concern you most. And we just spent, 20 minutes talking about A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown is not going to be in this specific conversation. So we'll discuss these. Which of these 4 injuries concerns you most with the Titans? But real quick, let me tell you about Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go to find out to get your new ride. So we're just WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go out to Lebanon and see Payne Bone and his crew. They'll help you find that next ride for you, the right ride for you. And they'll let you test drive it. They'll give you the whole 24-hour test drive so you can drive it off the lot, take it to wherever you want it, drive it home, park it, wake up the next morning, go look at it in the garage or where you park outside and say, yeah, I can see that. I can see myself in that. And then figure out the numbers after the fact. So Wilson County Hyundai, Payne Bone and his team in Lebanon do a fantastic job of making your car buying experience stress-free. That's it. It's WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go.
When you get in your Wilson County Hyundai, pull out your phone and download the BetMGM app, because when you give them the promo code A to Z Sports, you see it there on your screen, they will give you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. You're not going to find a better deal than that, and that's because DraftKings is the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks.
Yes, that's right. BetMGM, download the BetMGM app and visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older, must be present in Tennessee. And for gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. All right, so which of these 4 injuries are you concerned about most with the Titans? Is it Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, Anthony Ferkser, or Caleb Farley? That is the question there. Which of these injuries are you concerned about most? Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, Anthony Ferkser, or Caleb Farley? Luke, I'll let you start.
I'm having trouble. For me, it's between a couple. I'm going to go Bud Dupree because I think you can get away with Ola Adani and Rashad Weaver before he got hurt being your primary pass rushers against a team like the Colts.
With Harold Landry, yeah.
Yeah, but once you get out of this cupcake portion of the schedule and you get into that murderer's row of Kansas City and Buffalo, you need guys who can affect those superstar quarterbacks and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know those are weeks away, so perhaps Bud Dupree is healed by then. But that's what concerns me the most, because they paid him a ton of money to come in here and play with his hair on fire and get after the quarterback. Now, I thought Bud Dupree played fine in week 2 against Seattle. I thought he did some nice things. I don't know where Pro Football Focus got this idea that he was just totally unimpactful. It was absurd. But he hadn't played with his hair on fire yet, which, unlike Rashaan Evans and that weird quote from Jim Haslett, Bud Dupree has a history of playing in the NFL with his hair on fire.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen that guy yet because he's not all there. And Vrabel mentioned it on Friday. Someone asked about Bud Dupree, and his comment was he's still working to get back all the way. Yeah. And until he does, this Titans defense is not going to reach its full potential because Harold Landry's played very, very well through 3 games. But it's not going to be until they've got another guy screaming off the edge. And look, I love Oladeni as much as the next guy, but this is what's the word? Like his production. It's not an anomaly. It's just like it's not sustainable. You know?
I mean, maybe I don't know. Like the guy, but Ola looked explosive throughout training camp and the preseason though too.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
And so it's carried over.
He should have had 2.5 sacks on Sunday, if not for
so why
secondary.
Should it be sustainable for Ola? Because look, we were out there watching those practices too. Every 92 made plays. We're like, oh man, look at Ola out there just getting after it. And then it went into the preseason games and him doing it. And then we're like, yeah, but it's preseason, so he's on the team as like a bonus pass rusher.
and now we're still convincing ourselves that
now he's leading the team in sacks in 3 games.
And Mike Vrabel, who, is not one to really compliment an individual player, was like, yeah, we were talking in our meeting this week about we need to get him some more snaps. It's like, whoa, okay.
Well, think about it. Think about the clutchness of Ola's sacks. The sack on Russell Wilson that should have been the walk-off safety. His sack that got wiped off the board in the Colts game from the hold was at the end of the game when the Titans were trying to end it, right? So, like, he's coming up with timely plays as well, not just being productive, but being productive in clutch moments. So, I think Ola should be sustainable right now. Now, if he's playing like starter snaps, how does he do on the conflict downs on 1st and 10 and when the run's coming, right? Like, we've seen him rush the passer really well. How does he play the full position overall? So, let's go ahead. I'm going to read some comments because the question is, which of these Titans injuries concerns you most between Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, Anthony Ferkser, or Caleb Farley? Kendrick says Bud. Kenneth says Bud Dupree. Steven says Caleb Farley. Amy asks, is Christian Fulton okay? Luke, I'll let you talk about that with Christian Fulton because he got banged up a couple times in that game, but continued to come back.
Yeah, he came back. I think he's fine.
I mean, you would hope that he is fine.
I haven't seen. I mean, we'll see the injury report tomorrow, but I would imagine that he's limited or full tomorrow and that he'll play on Sunday.
Caleb says Dupree, Edge is the most limited.
Jeff especially says, after Weaver's injury.
Yeah, and Rashad Weaver wasn't like a huge player anyway right now, but it does suck.
He was playing though. I mean,
yeah, he was scratched in the first game. He was a game plan type player. Like it depended on the quarterback they were going to play or depended on the offense.
When I asked Vrabel why he wasn't active that first game, and he said it was special teams. So, I mean, and then week 2, we saw him on kickoff. So,
right. Kickoff. Oh gosh, I hate kickoff and kickoff return now.
You know who's really, really bad at kickoff? It's the Titans. They stink at returning kickoffs.
Everybody does. Nobody can block kick returns now because they can't practice it the right way, and the rules make it terrible. So I just hate it.
I'm not looking for Devin Hester. It's just like, how about not start at the 15 every time?
I'm with you, but nobody can block a damn kick return. Like, nobody can block it up. Like, punt returns, they were pretty good with what Chester Rogers was doing, or Chet, as Vrabel's calling him now. William says Caleb Farley's concerned there. Cody says Dupree for sure. Larry says Bud. Donald says Hooker. Andrew Reed says Farley, hoping for a hit on a first rounder this season. And then
now here's the interesting thing. In week 1, they got blown out so bad that it was deemed to be okay to let Caleb Farley play. Now, I wonder what would have to happen for Dylan Radins to get to play. Like, it'd have to get really bad for the 2nd-round pick to get to play.
Well, he has to be active first.
Yeah. I'm being coy right now.
No, I know. But, like, I was too. He's got to be active first on the game day. So, with Caleb Farley, I was never concerned about or expecting him to have a great rookie year. The Caleb Farley pick was a year 2, 3, 4 type of pick in the first round with what he was going through over the last several months of his back surgery. So that's not that big of a deal to me. Jarrell says Ferkser, the Titans are thin at receiver. But I think the way that Michael Pruitt and Jeff Swaim have played.
Jeff Swaim sucked.
Jeff Swaim, but Ferkser was not going to take away snaps from Jeff Swaim. Jeff Swaim was going to get the same snaps that he's always gotten with Ferkser in there. Michael Pruitt has stepped up and has played really well. You would think if Ferkser comes back, does that move Jeff Swaim down? And it's Ferkser and Pruitt. That's what I would like to see with Ferkser. But my answer for this, Luke, I'm going to go with Amani Hooker.
Yeah.
I think Amani Hooker is so much better than the Titans' other safeties behind him, besides Kevin Byard. I think Amani Hooker is such a difference maker, and they're about to play really good quarterbacks, and they're about to have quarterbacks test them down the field consistently after, obviously, the Jets and the Jags. Really good quarterbacks are after the two rookies. But I think Hooker is a big difference maker with this defense, and he is somebody that can make some significant plays. I think a reason why the Titans are -6 in turnover differential is because Amani Hooker is a turnover creator, and they haven't had their best turnover creator the last couple of games. And so Dane Cruikshank can be fine in spot duty. Obviously, Bradley McDougald got the pink slip after 1 week of starting, but Amani Hooker's my answer.
I want to respond to this comment from Caleb talking about his namesake, Caleb Farley. Why is it concerning to anyone? He was drafted for the future. Expecting him to play meaningful snaps after 2 back surgeries is expecting too much. Here's the problem with that. He's been cleared. He's healthy. It's a shoulder problem that he's dealing with right now. But take the shoulder problem away, he's still not playing. I don't understand why, and I think it's like a Stockholm syndrome thing. Titans fans have been so conditioned to first and second round draft picks doing nothing as rookies outside of A.J. Brown and Jeffrey Simmons. And Jeffrey Simmons didn't do much. He did a little bit. He played well in that Chargers game. But, like, you draft players in the first and second round to come in and make an impact. This hit in 2002 when you're drafting Keith Bullock and using him as a backup for 3 years. And then in the fourth year, he finally gets to start. Those days are gone. The good teams draft people who come in and play because they're good enough to play. The problem with Caleb Farley is that before the shoulder injury, he was not deemed good enough to play for the Titans.
Look, but we have to understand this is not a video game. It's not like just like when you're healthy, you come in and you play exactly how you were. Like he hasn't played football in a long time. There's a lot of he's overcoming an injury and he's overcoming sitting out for 16 months of not playing in action.
Well, then they shouldn't have drafted him. If that's a problem.
No. You draft him because of how good he was at playing the corner position. Like, he was an all-conference corner in his, third year playing the damn position. And so you draft first-round draft picks based on ceiling because you have that 5th year of control. Ceiling is only the big badasses, like the big bodies, the edge rushers, and the big corners and the big wide receivers go in the first round, and quarterbacks, right? Those are the people that are not a lot. There's not a lot of those humans walking around in the country right now, like big body tackles and edge rushers and big corners, big wide receivers and quarterbacks. You got to get those guys in the first round. You have to get Caleb Farley in the first round and hope over time that he knocks off that rust and you have a long-term plan for him. The guy's a special talent. Clocked in 4 3s or 4 2s at 6'1", 200 whatever pounds playing corner, and he's raw at that position. But when you saw him out there at Vatech 2 seasons ago, he was an all-conference player and he showed up on campus as a wide receiver. That's a guy that's worth a first-round draft pick to make sure you have him for the long haul. And that's just where you have to draft him. He fell to you because he hadn't played in a game in 16 months. And it's been even longer than that now. So Like, I'm not worried. Like, it's all about chess. Like, I hate that cliche, but Caleb Farley is an absolute chess move. And right now, because the Titans are a division winner, a playoff team, they can afford to do that. Like, they could afford to draft Keith Bullock in 2000, 30th overall, and have him sit on the bench for a couple of years because they were one of the best teams in the league. And so when you are one of the best teams in the league, you don't need your first round picks or your rookies to have that big of an impact. You can do what Nick Saban does a little bit and redshirt them. And then you can use them the next year. Like, well, look what Christian Fulton's doing. Christian Fulton is a perfect example of that. Like, sure, you needed Christian Fulton last year as a rookie, but
Christian Fulton played when he was healthy as a rookie. Caleb Farley's not.
Because Christian Fulton played college the year before. Caleb Farley has not played in a long time. Not playing football for like 2 seasons is a weird deal. Like, that is you don't just snap back in and like you're ready to play like you were like a week ago. Like, you gotta get yourself ready for that. Like, that's a truth. Like, it's not just riding a bike. Like, you kind of rolled your eyes there, but like, football is like a different type of game. Like, you can't just walk right into it after not playing and missing a whole season like that.
I think the point I'm trying to make is that Caleb Farley is just the latest example in a series of John Robinson draft picks that can't produce as rookies. Dylan Radins is another. We were just joking about that. Like, what travesty would have to happen to get him onto the field?
And Dylan Radins is like, I don't think we made it. We did not. I know this, not think. I know that nobody in Titans media made a big enough deal about the Titans' first 2 draft picks only combining for 1 football game in 2020. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal because
I don't think that matters for Radins. I think he just stinks.
I think it matters a little bit because if he would have had a full schedule, he would have gotten more reps.
He was drafted in the 2nd round to be an offensive tackle, and now he's the 3rd string guard.
Again, I think Dylan Radins. I put more fault on John Robinson for Dylan Radins than I do Caleb Farley right now because Caleb Farley, you knew what you were getting into.
And I'll give you your point about the athleticism and the ceiling with Farley, and you see that on the practice field. All we saw on the practice field with Dylan Radins was him getting worked by like Derek Roberson, Wyatt Ray, and those guys. Like, it was really bad.
Radins and Farley are very different. Very different. Like, Dylan Radins is not ready.
Both disappointing.
Both can be. You can be disappointed by both, but I think you have to understand the situation with Caleb Farley a little bit. Mm-hmm. And Nate says the last first rounder who had an awesome rookie year was Jack Conklin in 2016, 5 years ago. Yeah, when the Titans were the worst team in the league the year before. That's my point, is that the Titans were the first pick in the 2016 draft. They traded it away, and then they moved up to go get Conklin because they sucked out loud. And so now they no longer suck out loud. They're a really good team. So and there was another comment I want to read too that I just saw as I was scrolling by.
I have one too.
Does. Go for it.
To close out my thoughts on this topic of conversation, J-Rob has completely transformed this franchise. Y'all give him too much hate for misses and not enough credit for hits. See, yes, John Robinson has transformed the Titans franchise, but I have a problem with this attitude of like in sports that we cancel stuff out. It's like, this guy dropped 8 passes and then caught the game-winning touchdown. He totally redeemed himself. No, he dropped 8 passes and he caught the game-winning touchdown. They are both true. John Robinson has transformed the Titans and has hit on a number of players, mostly through free agency and trades. All right. John Robinson has also been consistently underwhelming with his day 1 and early day 2 draft picks. Both of those statements are true. One does not cancel out the other. It is a full picture.
Yes, I agree. But I do think each first round draft pick has had different circumstances, right? Like and right now, none of them, like,
Rashaan Evans, I didn't like that pick when it happened.
Rashaan Evans is the one, like, first round pick that John Robinson made that was I think, an interesting decision. I think the others can be explained away, right? Or given a reason why the pick can be justified. The Rashaan Evans was the only natural, normal.
I mean, I'm even willing to give him Lazy Panda made a ton of sense. They needed a tackle.
They needed a tackle, and he was a 6'5" behemoth who could move, who was a project at like 21 years old, who they drafted in the first round so they can get the 5th year of control with him. Yeah, like all of that made a lot of sense. And the same thing with Jeffrey Simmons. Top 5 talent, drops to 19 because he's hurt, scoop him up.
Yeah, well, the thing with Simmons is they knew that he was missing. They drafted him knowing that he would miss, half of the season. That wasn't like a shock.
Like Caleb Farley.
Like they didn't know Caleb Farley would not.
But the Caleb Farley back situation, you knew there was a big asterisk next to his health. And you knew that it might not be this year.
But the reason he's playing right now has nothing to do with the back surgeries.
But the reason why, yes, he got hurt. He hurt his shoulder, right? We don't know what happened, but he hurt his shoulder in the first game somehow. But the reason why he was not playing very well is because of the back surgeries and not playing in a football game for a long time and missing the whole year plus with back surgeries. Like that's a big deal of not having that last year of college to help you get prepared and get more reps and get better. Rehabbing, right? Like there's a difference in when you're always rehabbing in an off season, you're trying to get back to where you were. When you're not rehabbing in an off season, you're trying to get better than where you were. So Caleb Farley is still trying to get back to where he was, not working on getting better and improving his game.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Julio Jones because Luke, you were at Mike Vrabel's press conference yesterday, and Jack and I talked about this yesterday on the show, is that I think there was a load management going on with Julio Jones. We will play the Mike Vrabel audio from Monday and from Sunday, and we will see what we think about this overall. But first, let me tell you guys about our friends at Renters Warehouse, renterswarehouse.com. They're the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Simply go to renterswarehouse.com to find out how much your home can rent for. There's so many different ways you can use Renters Warehouse to your benefit, whether it's creating extra cash flow for your family or long-term equity, which means long-term wealth, which means retirement plans. Yes, you can set up your retirement plan very well with Rent Estate and let Renters Warehouse do all of the work for you. Simply, renterswarehouse.com is where to get started.
And today, if you download the BetMGM app and you give them the promo code A to Z Sports, they will give you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. Again, that's with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
Yep. Also, A to Z Sports Picks with Brian Edwards and Alan Bell coming up today at 2 o'clock right now, right here on the same channels you're watching. So get ready for that. They'll get you set up for the slate of college football in the NFL later this week. Okay, Luke. Let's talk about the situation with Julio Jones and what went on yesterday. So let's play these videos back to back. Let's play post-game Vrabel Sunday when asked about Julio, and then we'll follow it up with Monday Vrabel asked about Julio. Here's Sunday Vrabel.
So what happened down the stretch to be without Julio Jones?
I just think that as this thing, played out, just trying to manage, where he's at and, understand that what the type of game that we thought the end of the game was going to be. And those guys were going in there and trying to, dig safeties out. So we'll keep looking at those guys, and there's a lot of guys that are, going to need some rest this week. A lot of guys. They played hard, a physical game, and hopefully we can be ready to go when we head up to New York.
All right, so that was Sunday Vrabel. Here is Monday Vrabel on Julio.
About Julio. Guys go through games, guys get tight, and I felt like it was in the best interest of our football team and everybody involved that he be available in an emergency situation at that point in time. There hasn't been, other than one admitted, I would say, lapse in judgment in the first game, which everybody would agree on, myself, the team, Julio. There hasn't been one situation where I was disappointed. He's played physical and came back, played great last week. played physical yesterday, and that's where we were.
So there is Vrabel yesterday. I think I took from that, and I tweeted it, that Mike Vrabel knew the Titans could beat the Colts without Julio Jones, so he was able to live decision, load manage Julio Jones during that game. That is my opinion on, and maybe he got tight. I don't know. He didn't say Julio got tight. He just says guys get.
Not in that video, but he did say it in the press conference.
When? Yesterday?
Yeah, let me find the quote.
In a follow-up? Because he said guys get tight. When I heard him say it, it was never a Julio got tight. It was, guys get tight sometimes, and you have to make decisions. And he never specifically said that.
So, okay. Now, as it relates to your question, guys get tight.
Yep.
Okay. You don't think that means Julio?
Mike Vrabel doesn't say things specifically. So, but again, if he got tight and he was available in an emergency situation, but there was no injury destination, there was no injury, you're in the press box. You always, they always say over the press box, Kwity Paye out for the game with whatever his injury was.
Yeah,
AJ
that
Brown
never happened with Julio.
No, because he wasn't hurt or he wasn't injured. He might have been tight, but that's not injured. So if he was available in emergency situations, meaning Mike Vrabel decided in the fourth quarter, up 1, that he thought the Titans could win that game without Julio Jones because they were going to run the ball and pass on situations that they had to, and they could be okay without Julio, and there was no point of risking Julio. That is managing and load managing of a player.
So I do think you are correct that Vrabel made that decision. I think we can look to the comment from Sunday about we were just going to be digging out safeties and basically running the ball a lot and pounding Derrick Henry to the end.
So why put Julio in those situations?
Hold up. Vrabel definitely decided that they could win without Julio Jones. The reason that decision mattered is because Julio Jones got tight in the middle of that game. Because, Mike Vrabel is not just at random going to say, you know what? We can win this game without Julio Jones. Imagine, I think this is a completely fair analogy. Imagine if he said, you know what? It's a long season. We got to manage guys. Derek, come on out. Matt Nichols, go in. We can win this game without Derek. He's not going to do that. That would be patently absurd, and I would be sitting here crushing him right now if he did that.
Right. And they need to figure out how to get some of those games with Derrick Henry not touching the ball 30 times, but that's a different conversation.
I say let the big dog eat. That's my thing.
Luke, he's on pace for 500 touches this season. You can't keep that up. So with Julio, this is load management, is it not? They decided that
it is load management because he got tight.
Right, but he didn't get hurt. He didn't get injured. He was just tight, right? And so they took him out.
Let's flesh this out. What does that mean? Tight.
It means that whatever Julio is dealing with, maybe his calf or hand, some type of muscle was tight and was not as loose and warm and explosive as he would have liked to be. And so there's more of a chance that an injury could happen if you're tight.
I'm just not a big fan of sitting your best player out because you think you can win without him. This whole idea of Jones is valuable, but he's also injury prone. If we could win without him, then I'll sit him. Then why did you trade for him?
No, it's talking about in a game in September because it's the long play, and this is the long play. Bud Dupree, same situation. Bud Dupree was load managed. Now that was predetermined. Julio Jones was a live decision.
Here's my favorite comment. You need to be an athlete to understand it. You guys didn't play.
Yeah, I hate those comments, but to an extent, it's not incorrect. I just it's isn't it? Don't you find it interesting that this is year 4 of Vrabel. I don't remember him saying that a player is only there for emergency purpose.
Before that game.
That was
said
2.
It twice. Yeah. It is very strange, and the Bud Dupree stuff like adds some fuel to that fire. So do you think, Austin, that they're up by 1? Let's say that drive ended in a punt, and then the Colts kick a field goal. Now they're down by 2. You think Julio Jones coming into the game at that point?
Probably.
I think so too.
But the fact they scored a touchdown without him, and I thought it was crazy. There was a third and 5. The Michael Pruitt conversion, right? And Julio Jones on the sideline, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Like, they got to get this first down. And they just left him over there. Like, oh, no worries.
I mean, I think it was Joe Rexrode who pointed out in his column that on the most important offensive play of the game, the receivers were Chester Rogers, Nick Westbrook-Akina, and Racey McMath.
Yeah, and the running back was McNichols.
Yeah.
Like, and even the McNichols touchdown catch was a 3rd and goal from like the 7.
Mm-hmm.
And Julio just chilling. Like, if you score a touchdown, you are planning on going up 2 scores because they knew they were going to go for 2, which was a great decision. And they just like thought that Julio Jones was fine on the sideline. Like, no worries, no need. It's just it's very interesting. Dom says, someone answer this. Why do we care about this so much? I think we're just caught up in the term load management. Because
why do we care? Because you're okay. Someone was like, Luke said Julio Jones is the best player. Derrick Henry is their best player. Julio Jones is number 2. Your second best player is deemed to be not necessary. Now, I think Vrabel is right. I think they certainly could have beaten the Colts without Julio, and they did.
Well, they did, yes.
But it's a big deal that Julio Jones is not. How can you not see why this is a big deal?
Yeah, and Nate says, he goes, I think the media loves Julio Jones because he's Julio freaking Jones. You traded away a second. I don't even remember what the trade was for.
You traded around a 2nd-round pick that could have been used on someone like Dylan Radins for Julio Jones.
Yeah, right. Funny joke. And then you restructured his contract to give him $11 million in his pocket. So that's why you trade for Julio Jones. We want him to be used. We want to see Julio Jones. And we did not see him for like 20 consecutive days in training camp because of some mysterious something happened there in a training camp practice. And then in the first week, him and Tannehill were not working well together. He made a boneheaded decision. He balled out in week 2. And then in week 3, he started to play really well. He had 3 nice catches in the first half for 40-something yards. And then they pulled him just because they thought they could. And because he maybe got tight. It's just, it's confusing. It's dramatic.
Can you imagine if they hadn't traded for Julio Jones?
I tweeted that Sunday.
That was you. Yeah. I couldn't remember who that was.
And so, it would have been really bad. We saw what would have happened. We saw
Josh
that
Reynolds
Sunday.
sucks, apparently. He's a healthy scratch.
I don't think he's healthy. Like, I know he didn't. I
know for a fact he's healthy. I can say
confirm
that.
Sources?
I can confirm that.
Sources.
A good source.
Good source. Josh Reynolds is healthy.
Yes.
Are you going to write about that on the website? Because I think you should.
No, and I'll explain after the show why. But just take my word for it. He is healthy.
Okay, trust Luke Worsham. Josh Reynolds is healthy. For the first time since he signed on the dotted line with the Titans, Josh Reynolds is healthy. Per source. Good source from Luke. All right. That's fine. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to our Tuesday trivia. Normally it's Tuesday sports trivia, but today it is Tuesday Titans trivia. We got Titans trivia, all Titans questions here on the show today. But before we get to our trivia, let me tell you guys about Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness. 1 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout is absolutely free. Go check them out. Tell them A to Z Sports sent you because you're going to get your first free workout regardless. But when you tell them A to Z sent you, they'll take $100 off your first month when you sign up. That's at Mandu.com.
And I am going to tell you one last time about our friends at BetMGM, because if you sign up for their app today and you give them the promo code A to Z Sports, they will give you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. And that is on BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
All right, Luke, it is time for Tuesday Titans trivia. So I have a quiz of 15 Titans questions. So we're going to start this quiz. I got to hit the start button here. All right. So I don't know how this is going to work. I wonder if we're going to get live answers or not, but we'll have to figure this out. This isn't, again, there's 15. So this is an easy one, right? So this is just for us to figure out how this site works. The Titans pulled off the Music City Miracle against which team in the 2000 playoffs? The Bills. So
Yes.
It does not tell us if we were right or wrong live. So we're gonna
I
have to
hope they
find
get
that
harder
out.
than this.
Yeah. They will get harder than this, I believe.
Okay.
So I have to submit my answer. Okay, so it did tell us we're right. So next. Okay. Which Titans kicker announced his retirement after 22 seasons in 2004? Which Titans kicker announced his retirement after 22 seasons in 2004?
Is it Del Greco?
So there are multiple choice on this.
Okay.
So
well, I think we should just do it without the multiple choice.
Okay. I mean, I can see the multiple choice though, so that's kind of hard for me to.
You can nudge us in the right direction.
Yes. And again, no Googling, everybody. No Googling.
I'm seeing Gary Anderson in the comments. That makes more sense, I think.
Yeah. So the multiple choice are Gary Anderson, Rob Baronis, Ola Kimron, and Craig Hendrick. So it's not Baronis. It's not Kimron. I believe
Craig Hendricks isn't a kicker. So
right. So Gary Anderson to submit the answer. The correct answer is Gary Anderson. Next question here. I'm going to skip this. This one's too easy. Okay. Skip this one too. This one's too easy. Sorry. Oh, that was a trick question. I'm glad I skipped it because the question was what was the Titans' first season? I picked 99 and the thing said 97. So the trust level is waning in this. Okay. In 2006, Steve McNair ended how many years in tenure with the Titans to play with the Baltimore Ravens? So how many years did Steve McNair play with the Tennessee Titans?
The Tennessee Titans or the franchise?
The franchise. So the options are 12, 9, 10, and 11.
What year?
2006.
For whatever reason, my gut says he was a 1995 draft pick. And so that would be 11.
Yeah, because 2005 was his last season because he played 06 with the Vince Young draft. He played for the Ravens in 06. So 11, when we go 11, I think the chat is saying 11.
Because he was an Oiler, he was a Houston Oiler for a couple of years.
Oh, he sure was a 95 draft pick? Yeah.
That's my guess.
Eli says 95 draft pick. Chris says 95. I'm pretty sure 95 draft pick.
That just makes sense because I'm pretty sure he was a Houston Oiler for 2 years. And then because Neil O'Donnell was the starter.
No, it wasn't Neil O'Donnell. There was somebody else. Neil O'Donnell came later.
Okay.
So we're going to go with 11.
I think that's the right answer. Final A to Z.
Submitting the answer. We got that correct.
All right.
All right. What Pro Bowler signed with the Titans in 2006 to replace Justin Hartwig?
Who is Justin Hartwig?
What an offensive lineman. What Pro Bowler signed with the Titans?
Oh, Kevin Mawai, no?
Yeah. I'm going to go Kevin Mawai. Submitting the answer. Correct with Kevin Mawai.
Hall of Famer Kevin Mawai.
Yes. Pro Bowl at the time. In 2005, which Titans defensive end ranked 4th in the NFL in sacks? In 2005.
That's obscure.
So do you want the multiple choice?
Well, so my guesses are, I feel like Kurst was over the hill by that point. So either maybe Vanden Bosch.
I think Vanden Bosch wasn't around in 05 here. Here are the multiple choices. Jason Babin was in 2012 or 13.
That's too early for him.
So here are the options: Travis LeBoy, Bo Scoble, Kyle Vanden Bosch, Antoine Odom.
Vanden Bosch is still my guess.
I think it's Antoine Odom.
What does the chat think? I don't see anyone saying Odom. I see
I think it's Antoine Odom. Antoine Odom had a badass year.
Van Bosch.
I don't think Van Bosch was that early.
We
I'm going with
finally
Antoine
have
Odom.
that's what BMO thinks. Let's do it.
Antoine Odom?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go Antoine Odom. Submitting the answer. Oh, no, it's Kyle Van Bosch. Dang it. Oh, I did not realize.
No good.
Yeah, that's my bad. Okay. What was the longest losing streak for the Titans in 2005? So these are definitely getting harder.
I don't know. That's before my time.
3, 4, 5, or 6. The longest losing streak in 2005.
I have no idea. Now, if this was like 2014, I could tell you, but
3, 4, 5, or 6. And they're also like, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2005 was McNair's last year. They're getting a lot of 6s.
let's do 6 because that seems to be the consensus, and this is not one that.
All right. It was 5.
Okay.
That sucked.
Well.
Sorry, we're trying to get creative on these trivia. I'm skipping this question too. It's stupid. Also stupid question. Also dumb question.
Dumb easy or dumb like impossible?
Dumb, like super specific. Like, why would anybody know this? It's
well, if it's beyond like 2010, those are my favorite. It's the obscure.
It was like one of them was like, what was the Titans' 4th down percentage in 2007? Like, who cares? And Michael says this is messy today. Yeah, it's messy today because we're trying new things. We're trying new things on the fly with trivia today, and this is not going very well. Who had the most tackles in 2005 for the Titans? Who led the Titans in tackles?
They love 2005. Is that when
I don't know why.
Written?
I don't know. No, this was updated like somewhat recently, the last couple of years.
I don't know.
Bullock, Brad Castle, Tank Williams, Lamont Thompson are the answers.
It's got to be Bullock, right?
I'm thinking it's Keith Bullock. Keith Bullock is correct.
I don't know why I'm yawning.
You're always yawning when you do the morning show.
I don't know why.
The morning show takes a lot of energy, and you're not used to exerting this energy in the mornings. Who led the Titans in receiving, and guess which year?
2005.
Yes. Who led the Titans in receiving yards? Let's see if people can get it without
Drew
me
Bennett?
giving it. Huh?
Drew Bennett? Is that too early for him?
The options are Aaron Kinney, Drew Bennett, Chris Brown, Ben Troop.
It's got to be Drew Bennett, right?
Yeah, I would think also Drew Bennett. Drew Bennett is the correct answer.
All right.
That one's easy too. I'm sorry. This sucks.
Are you sure you're not in like the 2005 tab?
I am. Who did the Titans select with their first round pick in the 1999 draft?
Oh, come on. Javon Curse, no?
Yes, it is Javon Curse. Sorry. These sucked. I'm sorry. I had to pick a specific quiz without knowing what I was picking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I had a bunch of quizzes to pick from, and I picked the one that was updated the most recently, and without knowing what the questions were going to be. So that sucked. My bad. That was a really, really terrible trivia day, but
You should have just let me ask obscure Titans trivia questions which kicker? Okay. The Titans won 2 games in 2014, and they won the second one on a blocked field goal. Who blocked the field goal and who kicked it?
Sammy Lee Hill blocked it.
That's right.
I don't know who kicked it.
Josh Scobie of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That was a good guess. All right, guys. We'll Brutal trivia. Look, and Steven says that's why you always do a test before the show. Steven, if I did a test before the show,
We would know.
I would know the answers to the questions. That's why I can't. Now, I had like an option to pick between 10 Titans quizzes. I picked the one that was most recently updated and thought, let's just do this one. And that was how it went. So, Steven, I'm sorry. Okay. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Don't forget A to Z Sports Podcast Network for new content throughout the week. Also, A to Z SportsNational.com for anything we write on the Titans, the Vols, etc. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Wednesday. Buck Rising live tonight with A to Z Sports Primetime at 8. He'll see you then. We'll see you later.